There are two ways that people do things. One is through force, and the other one is through persuasion. And for the purposes of my speech today, I'm going to focus on persuasion. Force, the only reason why I'm not going to focus on force is because we can't control it. Force is through, somebody coming up to you and putting a gun to your head and making you do something. Persuasion, on the other hand, you have a choice. And it's important to know the different types of persuasion that people may use so we're not taken advantage of. And so for the purposes of my speech today, I'm going to talk about recycling. Recycling has been something that has affected me in my life. For the purposes of the topic, I've moved around a lot, and different neighborhoods they enforce recycling in different ways. And my parents never liked to be forced to recycle, but it was persuasion that made them do that. They didn't have to stay in the neighborhood, they chose to. And recycling was just part of most of the neighborhoods we stayed in, or we lived in. So as I grew up, some neighborhoods were really strict and others weren't. And I hope, after understanding the history, the process, and the facts of recycling, we collectively can make a decision for ourselves, or we can just make a decision for ourselves whether we want to do it in our own lives. The three things you should know about recycling are: number one, the history; number two, the process; and number three, the facts. And usually people are missing one or two or all three of those. Now, on the aspects of persuasion, when we think of recycling, most people are persuaded to recycle through either living in a neighborhood where they're forced to do it or they have to move, or it's through guilt. Guilt is a type of persuasion that people use to affect someone's attitude towards a certain topic. For instance, a lot of companies do this. For instance, people who need, children in countries that need food. You see it on the TV all the time. They throw up a picture of some child that's in need, and yes, they are in need, but you got to see the whole picture of what's going on. Goodwill, for instance, I just saw an ad on the TV the other day about how they employ people who don't have the same advantages as others. They're usually mentally handicapped or have other issues with their health, and if you donate to Goodwill, you help those people. Guilt. You feel guilty if you don't do it, and a lot of people use this. And recycling, I think, it's my own opinion, but they use that a lot. And in respect to this speech, I'm going to start with the history of recycling. Recycling is not a new concept at all. It's been around for thousands of years. It's something that people have done for a long time. You have something, you want something else, but it's cheaper to reuse what you have than to go out and buy a new one or make a new product. You reuse it. And that's recycling on a micro aspect, on a personal aspect. It wasn't until the Industrial Revolution that recycling really became a big issue. It was cheaper for people to, and easier for people to go out and buy a new product. And so they would. Landfills got overrun, and there's leakage problems. There's a lot of benefits to recycling, that's for sure. But everything we hear about is all the problems that it's done to the environment. You see the ad, and with all the bottles used last year, they could circle the world 5 times, 10 times, 50 times, whatever the number is. It's startling to see that. And it's emotionally based, and people feel guilty if you throw a bottle in the garbage can again. Now, the process of recycling, this is what bothers me the most. According to the history was from howstuffworks.com, and I've reached some other data from some other websites, and what I figured out from some government websites, primary way people, states recycle or cities recycle, is they have a company that comes in, gets the recycling, usually the city, and a recycling company will buy that recycling from the city. What you don't think about is the people who are in charge of separating their own garbage to recycle. We pay taxes for the city to come and pick up our garbage. The city makes money from the recycling company, who in return buys the recycling from the city. Then the recycling company will make new products from that recycled material that we separated and didn't get compensated for, and then we have to go pay extra money for this eco-friendly material, recycled material. It's something that really bothers me, because I'm paying double for something that I didn't have to do. It's a guilt-driven process. I feel guilty if I don't recycle, but at the same time I'm paying double. I'm paying taxes, and I have to pay for the product that the recycling company comes up with. It's a big, lucrative business, and people make a lot of money in recycling. The only people who are missing out are those that go through the garbage and actually separate it for the recycling company. Now, the facts of recycling are tremendous. They help the environment. It helps the environment a lot. There's no reason why it wouldn't help the environment. To reuse old things, make new things out of them, sure, it helps us out. But there are no facts about the micro aspect of it. How does it affect the average Joe on the street? How does it affect you or me? Yeah, we may feel better emotionally because we're doing something that we felt guilty about not, if we didn't participate. But in the end, who does it really help? Is it helping the environment? There's no worldly facts on how it's helped. Is it helping the city? Yeah, there's facts on that. As we think about recycling, we think about eco-friendly products. We need to remember who it started with. It started with you, me, and our neighbors, who decided to dig through their trash, pull out those containers because they felt guilty, and put them in a separate container. We don't receive any money. We're paying extra for it to do that extra step. I hope, after knowing the history of recycling, the process of recycling, and the facts of recycling, you can make a decision for yourself on whether it's something for you. Personally, I think the process needs to be revamped. We should get compensated for the efforts that we take to separate our own garbage.